What is up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode of Darkest Dungeon. It's my pleasure and my privilege to have you here. Never underestimate, I'm not just saying that, like I know sometimes people get the impression that YouTubers say things like that for PR, and I think sometimes YouTubers do. However, for me personally, it's a big deal that you all come and spend time with me every single day on my channel. It means a lot to me. YouTube is sort of like one of those things where I fell into it, and it's a big deal to me because it sort of saved me from real life, you know? I'm going to consecrate the altar in the hopes that... Actually, it might be better with him. Maybe this is the one that you lose a bad trait from. Curried the favor of the gods. That explains the curry smell in the dungeon. The gods are making curry down in here. Who knew? Ooh, good. We got some deeds. That's actually really pleasing. So glad. They're surprised, so we should have a little bit of time to play with here. Who's up first? Who's on first? One of my favorite wordplay games. I think that was Abbott and Costello, actually. Who's on first? That's an old bit. That's a real old bit at this point, but if you're trying to learn comedy, who's on first is pretty much comedy gold. Like, it's one of those acts that's just like, man, how did somebody think about that? Who's on first? What's on second? First is playing third. Second is playing shortstop and all that kind of stuff. Kind of an interesting... It's all the more complicated if you don't understand baseball, so I guess that would also be a hindering factor. It's kind of a funny little bit. If you haven't heard it, I would definitely look it up. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You just made my job easier. I know you think you made it worse, but you actually... Oh, man, you missed with your grenade. Granada! No! Blanket fire. Threw a bunch of rocks inside that fusilier. That fuselage, or what the hell that gun's called, I don't know. Either way. That's what they used to do back in the day when they ran out of ammo. That's what King Kamehameha did when he ran out of ammo. King Kamehameha was able to unite the Hawaiian Islands because he had a strategic mind, and
push on to the task's end.
He had met with the French and the English, who had supplied him with gunpowder weapons, and so nobody had ever unified the Hawaiian Islands before King Kamehameha. He was the first, and there's stories that when he ran out of cannonballs, because that was a big deal, is that King Kamehameha... yeah, that's good right there. I want that. Oh, I can do it through... Never mind, I don't need to open that. I can do it right there. Can I not? Oh, Highwayman. I'm sorry, that shares a graphic with... It shares a graphic with... A lot of the Plague Doctor stuff looks kind of like the Highwayman stuff, sorry. I got confused, but anyways, King Kamehameha, one of the big things that he did is he utilized Western weapons in his conquest of the islands. And he had a cannon, several cannon as I recall, that really helped him overtake a couple of areas that were troublesome to conquer. And when he ran out of ammo, he would load the cannons with rocks. Just like a bunch of Langridge-sized rocks, like a bunch of BB-sized rocks, and he would use it as grape shot. It works. They used to do that in old school cannon battles between fleet ships as well. If you ran out of cannonballs, you would load it up with silverware, you would load it up with just random bits of wood, whatever you could, to fire at the enemy and just like hurt everybody possible. Let's go for a stun right there, because I think those two are definitely going to present a unique set of issues. Let me see if I can get my front line healed up here. He got the bleed resist, so that's good. I'm going to do a duelist advance right there to try and get him out of the way. He's going to work on the front lines. I don't think he's going to get him down in time. Luckily, we have another turn to play with before the really dangerous enemies are upon us. And my hope is by that point we will have wiped out this front line. And once the front line has been eliminated, we'll drag them back a little bit further, and hopefully that'll work out. What's their stun resist right now? 50%. What's his health? 8. Do it again. Double resist. It's to be expected. I took a chance and I lost. It was a 50-50 on each of them. Hey, there's a big heal. That looks nice. Got the bleed resist out and everything. Took an arrow to his shoulder right there. It's okay, though. He's been working on those biceps, so they're pretty beef-caked out. Let's do a point-blank shot to get rid of him. That'll also push him back in the line. Okay. Big nasty hit right there. Let's bring them to the front, shall we? This is becoming a bit more troublesome than I expected. And we are going to have to keep health on people. I think bayonet jab can only go to the first 2 lines. So this may get us out of trouble. Maybe. Can't really do much right there. So you know what? Just use your little heals on him. He doesn't have much HP anyway. So 1 is a lot more to him than it is to some characters. 1 is the loneliest number that you'll ever see. We're not doing too horribly, but that 11 crit was more than I would like to take. There we go. Now we're back in decent shape. Stress damage is a little bit high, but we've had a fairly lucrative mission. Sort of. I think I'll stick on him with knives. 19. Good God, man.
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Seeing as we've won and we know there's no more room battles, it's possible that we might want to traipse through the dungeon a little bit further to see if there's any more useful stuff around. In the previous episode, we were forced into a early retreat in a way that I didn't really like. We pulled the collector on our first run, or I guess our first real run that was non-tutorial. And it was unfortunate that we were forced to deal with something like that so early on in the game. I knew that was going to happen. That's why I left 4. You should always leave 4 food behind. Always.
Curious is the trap maker's art. His efficacy unwitnessed by his own eyes.
Sometimes it's worth it to press up when you're inside some of these rooms too. They've added a thing called secret rooms now where you can scout them. I don't know if you can actually access them without scouting them, but I've had it happen a few times now where there'll be like a room right here, but it'll be connected with like thought dots instead, and it'll be like a blue color, I think. It's a secret room and it has hella treasure inside of it, or it'll have like an amazing buff or something like that. You definitely want to check them out. It's a good plan.
Room by room, hall by hall, we reclaim what is ours.
Not a bad run for us. Not a good run, but not a bad run. 3,000 gold is a little bit less than I would have liked. I'm trying to get, I should probably do a torchless run, but I just don't feel like our characters are up to it yet. Level up right there for our occultist. Took a lot of stress on that run. That's the only side that we kind of failed on. He got early riser, unerring. That's really, really good. You can lock positive effects if you wanted to. Weapon tinker, that's also very, very good. Save you a lot of money. Stress damage in the Warrens, that's okay.
We dug for months, years, an eternity, and we were rewarded with madness.
Well, I guess sometimes something's better than nothing, huh? Everybody's real negative around here. It's because the entire city is just made of gray. Gotta get some colors in here. Get like a fuchsia building over here. Maybe like a teal colored building over here. Maybe like a lemon colored building over here. I bet it'd be alright. So it's it's finally time. Can I go inside the sanitarium yet? Oh, I can. So Reynald's gonna have to take a little bit of time off. And that's because we need to get rid of his kleptomaniac. Oh my god, it's so expensive. The reason it's so expensive is because it has a little skull next to it, which means it's locked. It means he can't lose that. So as you get negative traits, if you fill up your entire character sheet with negative traits, it'll replace one at random with a new negative trait when you get another negative trait. The skull means that it's locked. It can never be replaced. And once something becomes locked, it's super expensive to get rid of. Almost to the point where Reynald might be worth dumping. It'd kind of depend if we can get another one. Okay. I wouldn't be against another plague doctor.
What better laboratory than the blood-soaked battlefield?
And what we really need is more Vestals. Why is she still drinking? Shouldn't she be done? That's unfortunate. Why is she still drinking? Huh. Shouldn't she be out? Weird. Maybe it works differently now than it used to. You lose a certain amount per day when you're inside of like a location until you have bottomed out your stress, maybe. Who knows? I guess you don't get XP for failing either. Thought you did. Learn all kinds of new shit today. The Highwayman's Buckle, that's a pretty good ability. His virtue chance goes down, but among the things that you could lose, it's not so bad. That'll bring his crit up to 7%, which is actually starting to get towards the point where it's no slouch. I will probably take the Caution Cloak, too. Dismas is back in, huh? Okay. I would really like to get this next. That's what I'd like to focus on. Unless I have enough to get the first. There we go.
We will face ever greater threats. Our soldiers must be ready.
I think he can only meditate or something like that. He can only pray for stress relief. And unfortunately, the caretaker is in the way right now. So I've got to do something with him. That's a lot of money to spend on, like, one thing. Let's start with God-fearing, maybe. The Klepto's gotta go, though. I'm gonna bite it off now. Might as well. It's a shit sandwich, but we gotta start eating it at some point. We already got the crust cut off, so whatever. Columbell, I'm gonna send you in to meditate for a bit because you're the only other healer we've got. So, kind of banking on your usefulness, continued usefulness, anyways. We now have unlocked a bunch of the other places that we can adventure. Namely, we've unlocked the Warrens, the Cove, and the Weald. These will each have their own challenges, but in exchange for those challenges, they give us a little bit more targeted loot. So you always get busts whenever you come here. Versus when you go here, you get crests. When you go here, you get deeds, which are exactly what we need. When you go there, you get portraits. So just things to think about along the way when you're trying to make decisions for the party. Dismas is Vaudeville. Vaudeville's stress a little high, too. Double Rogue with point blank shot is really, really, really good. Like, it's a solid front line. You will devastate your enemies if you have it. However, what I'd be more likely to consider, let's bring Vaudeville on this one. Let's bring Calmet because he's got a self, or not Calmet, we'll bring Greslet because he has a self-heal and a stress outlet. You, sir, actually, it might be better to bring Dismas. Dismas is more suited for the third space. Meanwhile, does he have Mark for Death? He does. Bertrand could go right there. I mean, we could run double Leper. It wouldn't be a terrible plan. Lepers are, like, really, really good. They are wrecking balls. They're out there riding that wrecking ball naked with some boots on. I'll tell you that much. You know, I feel like we're in a pretty solid space right now. I like this group. I do want to get the Man-at-Arms a little bit of stage time. I don't play the Man-at-Arms very often, but I don't know. Might be worth it. Bellow doesn't seem that good. Rampart seems alright, though. And Crush has a really solid crit mod. So you can guard an ally. That's pretty smart, too, because you could put him on the healer. How good are you from the back row? Not so good. I need a back row person. Yeah. I figure we'd bring one of the newbies then. And actually, this is a really... I like her. She's a really, really good Plague Doctor, so Turnbull, she's going to be our new Huckleberry. We're going to continue focusing on deeds, so we're going to go out into the Weald today. The Weald is a little bit gnarlier in my opinion, but it's not too bad. It's survivable. And like I said, you can always run away if you start to lose. That's the big thing that I think people get attached to their victory, like they want it, you know what I mean? Like they want to go in to win. They don't want to run away. And I'm sorry, like sometimes that's the way she goes. That's the way she goes, Rick. Sometimes you gotta run away. It's part of the game. I don't think I've ever had a run where I haven't had to run away at least, like, I can take 2 of those off. We got plenty of those. I didn't need to bring 2 because I'm getting freebies. Cool. In we go.
Corruption has soaked the soil, sapping all good life from these groves. Let us burn out this evil.
See what we got going on here. So we got a trap right there that we're already aware of. Let's put Dismas on it. Perfecto. One thing about this game is that it presents you with all the information you need in order to have like a successful group and to beat the game. It's just that there's so much minutia in this game. Please don't. Yep. Oh, good, he resisted. Fantastic for you. You would assume if he has leprosy, what's the worst that could happen? Leprosy was very fatal back then. If you don't know, I'm pretty sure leprosy is bacterial. We can treat it nowadays, but in the olden days, it was basically a death sentence, although most diseases were back then, so... And things like the common cold were kind of deadly back then. You can use, just for future reference, you can use medicinal herbs on it, and it'll give you like 10 food for free. Just in case, and since we're not running a healer, that extra food is going to be pretty helpful, and I wish that we had gotten it. No fight in our first room. We have to do 100% of room battles. Our scouting checks are going absolutely fantastically. We're going to have a barrier inside of this little run right here. Some kind of weird tentacle tree. A tentacular tree. We've got a lockbox over here. You always want to use a key on that. I mean, sometimes you get treasure without it, but I wouldn't risk it. What the hell is that? A bleed charm. Oh, that's not that good. Okay. Don't care about it. Vendor fodder. Vendor fodder is valuable in this game. If you bring home like 7 trinkets, you can basically double the amount of money you made on a run. The only thing I'm concerned about here is their ability to pull people around. We don't have a lot of error tolerance right now in our group as far as being moved around goes. We kind of have to stay in one line. So if we end up getting pushed and pulled around, if you push me and then just pull me until you get your satisfaction, we more than likely are going to be hosed. However, that said, it's not so bad. These monsters have really, really high prot. Prot is a stat that reduces damage by the percentage listed on the box. So if you see down there it says prot 33, that means he's got 33% damage reduction. I would like to go in on... Another dodge. Okay, ill-timed. Fire again. Perfect, and then she'll die. Stressful incantation on him is perfectly fine. I can offset that without too many problems. I would also... Do they have good blight resist? 60% blight resist. Okay. Let's go with another plague grenade on her. That should be enough to kill her on the next turn with the 8 damage tick. Groping Swipe's going to go out. We got to watch our stress. We're actually accumulating stress a little too rapidly right now. I'm going to have him start to negate his own stress. If we get some freebie fights where we aren't having too many issues, I'm going to have him focus almost entirely on meditating and getting rid of his stress. Keep the AoEs running. I love Hugh. It's one of my favorite things in the entire game. Keep firing at her too, just to make sure we get rid of her. Throw out some little baby heals just in case we need them. Precisely what I was going for right there. Awesome. He's got 50% prot now. That's pretty wild. 50% prot's pretty good. Ain't nothing hurting you when you got that kind of prot. Down he goes. Perfect. With this guy over here, I don't know what item you use on this. We're on our last shovel. That's the one I lean towards, but just go for it. It worked out. Got a couple of deeds, actually, which is great, because we could totally use those. Get Tony the Tiger up in here and be like, they're great! I never liked cereal commercials. I don't know. They pander a little too heavily to children. It annoys me. Stack up some... Oh, really? No damage to the front line, huh? Alright. Well, there's your damage to the front line right there. Enjoy. Keep reducing his stress while we're in the neighborhood. Greslet is on track right now to be a very, very good character for us. I haven't mentioned it, but Greslet could be an MVP for us in like 5 or 6 weeks if we just utilize him properly now. The map had a... we looked inside of a Mac and we found a map. Return of the Mac once again. Return of the Mac. Oh my God. Turn up the Mac. When that comes on, you guys don't even know. When I'm in the car, and that's my song right there. That's my windows down, radio up song with the Ray-Bans on. Just like, oh, we're going in now. Got the Wayfarers on. Return to the Mac is the jam, man. That was one of the best songs ever. This guy right here, Anti-Venom? Yeah. I couldn't remember exactly with the tree, but I was pretty sure it was Anti-Venom. Because if you look at what it does to you when you fail, you'll get a pretty good idea of what you're supposed to use against it, and you get blighted if the tree fails its roll. So anyways, I've gotten better at the game. You guys can tell since my last series, I actually know what I'm doing now. That's the big difference. But then again, with 100 hours played, you'd figure I'd be good at it by this point. The 100 hours played, if you're not good at it, what the hell have you been doing the whole time? Like, even with like 100 hours of CSGO, you should be quite a bit better at that point. And that's a game with a really high learning curve. If you ain't learned nothing in 100 hours, it's a little concerning. Got a trap right here. We'll go ahead and take care of that. God, what a run. We are doing really well right now. Treasure chest right there. Surprised our enemies. Absolutely fantastic. Perfectly what I would hope for. They got 60% blight resistance. Our best bet on this one is actually probably to go with the dude up front, since everybody else has pretty... Oh. Alright then. And everybody else has pretty good blight resistance, so getting rid of them might be troublesome.
Is broken. Maintain the offensive.
I don't know if I want to get rid of the... No. I didn't know if I wanted to get rid of the corpse in the front, because this is going to happen right here. And so once he's marked, he's going to start taking a bunch of damage from the enemy. It will be an issue. She's blighted. Oh, she got tapeworms too? That's unfortunate. Good for weight loss. Bad for life. And I'm going to try and get these little guys in the back because they are going to cause problems for us if I don't. I'm going to go battlefield medicine on her to minimize the damage that she's going to take. For running a no-heal group, we're actually doing pretty stellar right now. That's one corpse out of the way, and that'll shift him forward slightly. Just keep swinging. Just keep swinging. Look at that. They marked us both. A little bit problematic. Yeah, they should start dealing some pretty serious... Oh. Okay. Let's go ahead and wipe out that little guy in the back with a good crit. From here on in, the name of the game is trying to get his stress down so we can use him again next mission. So... God, with the blight, non-stop. Non-stop with the blight. I actually didn't really want to do that right there. But I suppose it is what it is. Let's finish it. I said I was going to drag it out, but I don't know if it's worth it.
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
It's the end of our adventure. We got a couple more rooms left, though. And I'd be inclined to say we should probably go after them. What do I have here? What do I have? Don't really need the holy water, so I'll just play it on him. You can do that with holy water, by the way. I don't know if people know about that, but you can use holy water on your characters. It's just something that I never really thought about until I started doing it. When you've got extra stuff laying around, you should always try to utilize it. Don't leave anything to waste. Ooh, we got some sapphires in there? Yeah. Instead of bringing jades, do I have any single stacks? Yeah, like citrine. Get rid of that, and we'll bring that right there. 250 gold is not really going to matter. I could have ditched some torches or something, and it probably would have been fine. But... not necessary. Let's finish this thing off. We got another battle in front of us. These doggies are very dodgy. We may have troubles with this one. They also give you rabies, which sucks. That is also a death sentence. Even in the modern world, rabies is a death sentence if you get it. They can treat it if they catch it early enough, but there's a window. And if they don't catch it by a certain point, I'm pretty sure it's still fatal. That's like one of those diseases. I think they got to hit you with a vaccine within like a certain amount of time after you get rabies so that your body can fight it off. And if they don't... or maybe they vaccinate you for it beforehand. I don't know. I know they give rabies vaccines to dogs and cats, so I assume they probably give them to humans too or something. If you live in an area with a lot of squirrels or something, maybe you should get a rabies vaccine. I don't know. The dogs don't leave corpses. That's pretty cool. An Eldritch push. Better than an Eld Poor push. Unfortunate. I'm going to try and get his stress down real fast. Who knows how much time we'll have to actually do this. You've got to work your way back towards the front. Stressful incantation on Turnbull, who stays the hell out of the way. Very nice. Level 1 luck goes in my favor. Alright, so now would be the point where I ditch the band-aids and watch. We're going to get a spider web. Oh, really? We got another fight, huh? That's surprising. That's okay, though. We need the money. We need the money really, really badly, and I didn't rearrange my line. That was foolish of me. Let's go ahead and use Emboldening Vapors on our rogue. You keep working that stress back down, amigo. That's not good. That's definitely not good. Man, whatever. We've got lots of AoE. We'll be alright. So these critters right here, they've got a couple abilities that can be obnoxious, to say the least. They can use Cytokinesis to split in two, and then they use, I don't know, some kind of osmosis type deal to turn into like a big one. If there's like 4 of them on the screen, or 2 of them on the screen, they can turn into like a big one that's quite a bit more trouble. So you probably want to deal with them as fast as you can. Or at least leave the corpses on the ground while you kill them so that they don't have the space to expand into. Other things to think about. Keep working on that stress, amigo. You guys are will probably be running double leper in the next fight too. I love the leper though. The leper is by far one of my favorite classes, so I tend to utilize them a lot. Keep it up with the Emboldening Vapors, I guess. And then we'll try and snipe from the back to finish that fight off. Love it when a plan goes according to plan. Take that. And we've got one last box, and then we're done. That's it. That's game over, man. Game over. Ain't nothing left in the dungeon to be worried about. So let's head on back to base. We'll do a little bit of creative accounting here to figure out how much gold we have.
Will yet be driven from our woods.
At which point, I know we got a bunch of deeds out of that one, which I'm very, very excited about. I'm quite stimulated and titillated at the moment at the thought of what we're going to do with all those deeds. Yeah. That was a good run. That was a good run. That was one of the runs that you're looking for right there. I don't normally look for the runs, but that run right there, that's the type of runs that I'd love to get. 5 Virtue Chance. That's really good. Wheeled Explorer. It's okay. Pretty good. It goes into his build. And not too useful on Turnbull.
I see something long absent in the sunken faces of passers-by. A glimmer of hope.
What does that mean? Has she gone missing? Huh. I've never seen that before. That's kind of interesting. It's okay. We've got Colombelle's back. So I'll probably run something like that in the next episode. But for right now, we're out of time for the day. My name is Splattercat. We'll do some upgrading around here, and I'll see y'all in the future episodes of Darkest Dungeon Release.